images coming in from the Florida Convention Center, where Trump is really due to have this big speech, a victory speech, very likely, for him. Huge crowds there that have already gathered cheering for Trump, awaiting his arrival. This is certainly historic for Donald Trump, a man who lost out the previous election to Joe Biden, the Democrats, and now has managed to come back in how. It appears that he has defied all those cases and the number of criminal cases that were leveled against him, several cases that are still ongoing. And there were bids and attempts that were made to push him out of the electoral race itself, of course, as per legal provisions itself, owing to some of the issues that he had to face, the legal cases. It was very unlikely that Donald Trump would even be the Republican candidate. But look how he's managed to turn that around, and he's very close to victory this time. So this is certainly historic. Rohit could probably break it down for us on how, Rohit, Donald Trump was in fact unlikely to be even contesting this presidential elections because of the kind of cases he had against him. But somehow the courts cleared him right in time.
Well, look, forget about, President Biden or Vice President Kamala Harris. Nikki Haley was basing her campaign off of the fact that these court cases could be career ending for Donald Trump. 3 court cases, all right before the election year, leading into the election year. They all believed that these court cases, he'll probably get sentenced, he'll end up in jail, and people will reject a candidate who is serving jail time.
We're in appreciation for Hillary Clinton for her service to our country.
So people there really hinging the election campaign itself based on that. Nikki Haley was an example that Rohit has quoted, hoping to be the Republican candidate if at all Donald Trump was pushed out of the race. That's what you mean, right?
Yeah.
Rohit, a little more on why Donald Trump is considered or presumed to be good for India. He's seemingly been very friendly with Prime Minister Narendra Modi, calling him his close friend on every given occasion, trying to pick up Hindi words to speak so he could impress the Indian American audience there. So in every way, he's really shown that kind of warmth towards Indians, Indian community, towards India, even be it with regards to defense deals that he pulled off during his tenure with India. Give us a little more on why he's perceived to be good for our country.
He has, he always touts about the fact that he has a great relationship with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. I remember during the campaign, he was asked about some of the foreign leaders. Nobody asked him particularly about Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The question was about, tell us about some of these world leaders that you admire and work with. And the first name that popped up in his head, and he said, was Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And that made headlines across the globe, when he said, he's a tough man and, he's a great friend. And he said that. And we saw the same theme play out not too long ago on the day of Diwali, when he tweeted a long tweet talking about his friendship with India, with Prime Minister Narendra Modi, talking about Hindu Americans, appealing to Hindu Americans to vote for him. So I think, President Trump has always seen as somebody who appreciates friendship. He's somebody who likes loyal people around him. He's somebody who believes in investing in the right kind of relationship, be it, business or politics. And I think that is why, he probably, if he assumes the office, which we are all thinking that he will eventually, he will, in a sense, be able to do that and work with the Indian counterparts. The other important thing is, like, India-US relationship is bipartisan. It has a bipartisan support. So it really wouldn't have mattered much if, Vice President Kamala Harris would have won this election, or she, if she gets got to become the president of the United States. The only thing would have been approach. Trump, could be unpredictable at times, and, he could talk about his great friendship. But he could also, talk about, trade and being tough, especially, he's always brought up Harley Davidson and tariffs on those. So he could probably do that. With the Democratic candidate, and in this case, Vice President Kamala Harris, we would have had a very nuanced approach, measured approach, which we've seen some of the Indian officials we're prepared for both. And India has been really successful in having great relationships.
All right,
with both.
we're getting information of Trump winning the fourth key swing state of Wisconsin. Rohit is still patched with us. Out of the 7 battleground states, we're looking at 4 that have gone in the way of Donald Trump. Announcement coming in for Wisconsin. Why is this important? 4 states out of the 7, that's already a victory right there. Rohit.
Honestly, it looks like there's nothing. There's no mathematical path for Vice President Kamala Harris. If Wisconsin is gone, that means the blue wall has been breached. The all-important blue wall, the states of Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, this is exactly the repeat of 2016. Even in Minnesota, she's running behind. And she picked up a vice presidential candidate from the state of Minnesota, and she's still running behind in Minnesota. So, I mean, look, when I was in India, I met some of you guys in the newsroom, and I said, some of you had asked me, and I said, it is Trump. I think people want to vote for President Donald Trump. And that is exactly what we picked up on this campaign trail. All these months we've been covering a race for the White House. President Trump had, he probably didn't have a lot of ground game, but he was connecting with the voters. Voters that we spoke to personally have expressed that he's a guy, who would probably bring jobs back. He's a guy who would bring inflation down. He's a guy who would have economy in check. And I think that message of Donald Trump, he doesn't talk, too many policy details. He doesn't get into the nitty-gritty of things. His message was very clear. I will make sure you have jobs. I'll make sure inflation is down. I'll ensure economy is great.
Rohit, if I could really take this to our viewers here, Fox News, which is a news broadcaster in the United States, has already declared Trump as the 47th United States president. This is Fox News that's perceived to be pro-Republicans. Either way, has already declared 47th U.S. President Donald Trump. This is Fox News report that's coming in, and it very likely looks towards that direction itself, considering that here, Wisconsin, another swing state, just moments ago we hear Donald Trump has managed to win that. So out of the 7 swing states, Donald Trump winning 4, with Fox News already declaring that Donald Trump becomes the 47th president of the United States. So it's a declaration that's coming in nice and early from none other than Fox News, as expected though, but it's going by the trend. Even though the results are still trickling in, we don't have an official confirmation, but all the trends and the announcements coming in from various states showing very clearly that Trump is on a huge lead. No kind of mathematics here can reverse that at this point. Do you think, Rohit?
Look, I'll also remind our viewers, Nabila, it was Fox News in 2020 that said President Biden had won Arizona and Georgia, and nobody else was calling that out. And their news desk had come out and said, they stuck their neck out and said, President Biden is winning Georgia and Arizona, and Trump did not believe it. And it's Fox News again, and their news desk again that is saying that we have a new president in the United States. In America, we have our 47th president, who was also our 45th president, President Trump. So these decisions are not made lightly. And Nabila, there's a whole decision desk, that evaluates the votes coming in, that evaluates past votes, the exit polls, and then they make a prediction and projection in this case. So if Fox News is suggesting and projecting President Trump as the next president, I would highly think that other networks